Memorex.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 25 of the podcast Unlimited Wisdom with Robert Hollis. I'm Craig A. Jackman along with Matt Hollis, and we are so glad to have you with us today. And today we have a very special guest star on Unlimited Wisdom. And actually, we can even now officially call him a trade star. So but while we get things rolling, you're going to see an additional person besides Robert and Matt with us. But I'm going to go ahead and open it up so that we can get started with our Unlimited Wisdom broadcast, episode 25. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Robert, Matt, and our very special guest trade star.
Name?
Oh, I think I was going to give that to you.
The alley-oop was missed.
I was hanging
Yes,
out
sorry.
there. It's like,
Oh, well, at least I introduced you there.
well, Craig,
I was
you're
going to
such
say,
an
welcome to
amazing
the
host.
Unlimited Wisdom podcast.
You're such an amazing host. I wanted to hear Arthur's name in the special Craig.
Oh, in the special way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then let me back up just a minute. Let me do the rewind. Today, we have a very special guest star on Unlimited Wisdom, a trade star. So without further ado, joining us, Matt, Robert, and I, give it up for Mr. Arthur Wainio!
See there it is.
With a little trill too.
Oh, it was awesome, Craig. You're the hostess with the mostest. Hi, Matt. Nice to see you on here.
Hello, everybody.
And Arthur, thank you so much for taking your time. We'll try to make this short and sweet so you can go out and make some more money.
No, the markets are closed. I'm done.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, I want to, first of all, I've always been the person, documentation beats conversation. I got the patent on it, domain, everything. So I'm just going to really quickly show you something. So this will allow you to maybe possibly pay attention. The guy that we're introducing today, Arthur Wainio, we'll ask him all kinds of questions, but he's number 3 on the leaderboard here. And in 11 days, he's made just over $19,000. So if that doesn't get your attention, then hey, maybe this is not the right timing for you. But for those that will take the attention, that's why we're having him on here. I've known Arthur for years. He's been part of the family. He's been part of our inner circle, our imaginators. And he's one of those guys that just have always hung around. And then the timing clicked for him, and this clicked for him. And so there's nothing better than to do an interview. Instead of me telling you Arthur's story, I want Arthur to tell his story. So if you don't mind, Arthur, we do this really laid back, but why don't you start out by telling people, where you grew up and stuff like that. What was did you have any college education? What was a career that you took after that? And what got you to this point?
Yeah, so I grew up, I was born and raised here in Phoenix. I was actually born at home. I was the only one born at home that my mother had. Yeah, so I grew up here in Phoenix and went and lived in Tucson for a couple of years, then moved back up here. But I went to school originally for I thought I was going to be using my technical degree as a springboard into like real estate investing.
Okay.
So I went to a trade school for computer networking and information technology. That was right after I finished that right after 9/11.
Wow.
So it was pretty bad timing because right after that, they were firing everybody in the tech field, and that was the .com bubble.
Got it.
If you remember.
I do.
So they were firing a lot of tech people, and I came to find out that I was competing for jobs with people that have been in the business for 20, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. They had just way more experience than me, and it was hard to get my foot in the door. And even though I had all these like certifications and I could do the job and stuff like that,
Sure.
So after
That
I
thing,
finished,
that thing we get behind all the time is, hey, do you have any experience? And it's like, I
yeah,
would if you hired me. Then I,
yeah,
so it's like well, if you will hire you if you get experience, how the hell am I supposed to get experience? So please,
exactly.
yeah,
I mean, I stayed down in Tucson and I worked. There's a lot of um, call centers down there for
okay,
all kinds of things. There's one, Microsoft used to have a call center down there.
okay,
And a couple of these huge dial-up companies at the time used to have call centers down there. So I was a call center rep dealing with people that couldn't hook up their dial-up internet, which teaches you patience.
A lot of patience.
Um,
wow,
yeah, and then it moved on to DSL. So then I became a DSL tech. And then my manager saw me out there and he said, "You're way too qualified for this job. I have something else for you to do." So then I started working in the back office, not on the phone, in the back office of the entire call center, setting up computers for the Microsoft call centers.
wow,
And I would be setting up their computers, their IP phones, their break me computer, because they have two computers at Microsoft. They have one that they're working on and one that's they call a break me computer.
okay,
And there's just like a little switch to switch back and forth in between them. So I was setting those up, imaging all like 20 computers at a time, then rolling them out there on a cart to go set them up with their phones and stuff. So it was pretty crazy.
crazy, really crazy.
Um, After that, I I just thought that it was kind of like a dead end job, not really like going anywhere, not like what I had expected and what I went to school
Yeah, I did a
for.
video right before we jumped on here called Burnout. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just like when you sort of get to a place where all of a sudden it's like, this is just not working for me anymore.
Oh, and I was burned out and they were doing unlimited overtime. So I took all the overtime I could down there and I only slept for maybe 3 or 4 hours. Then I would be back at work and there was weeks where I did not see the sunlight. I left when it was dark. I came home when it was dark, and we're in a building with no windows. And I did not see
Holy,
the sun at all until I went to like lunch and I was out there for 30 minutes. That was the only time I saw the sun.
hey, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing this story. I always love hearing people's stories. So it's like, so you wouldn't suggest being a vampire, is what you're probably saying.
No, because it it does something mentally to you. I don't know how people work the graveyard shift, but it puts you like in a depressed state if
Yeah,
you're doing that type of work and you're working that many hours and you never see the sun. You become like you get into like this depressed state, like nothing's ever going to change. So I changed something. I told my manager I was quitting. I quit.
got it.
And I went and I started selling cars down there at the Toyota dealership for used cars, which at the time I only had like maybe a couple months worth of money to save up to pay for bills. So I had to like make it happen down there. I got like employee of the month down there my first month, and then told them I was going to quit. I made my $5,000 or $6,000 that I did selling used cars, and I quit and I moved back up to and moved in back with my mom up here in Scottsdale, and I went and sold cars for Pinnacle Nissan over in Scottsdale.
Wow.
Became employee of the month there. The same thing. I people were like amazed. I had like car sales is pretty cutthroat,
It
and
is.
you wouldn't think that you would have to fight for the people coming in to see you, that to come in and they
Right.
specifically ask to buy a car from you. You wouldn't think that you would have to fight the other salespeople because they'll lie to the people. They'll see them. They'll say, "Oh, he's not working today. I can help you."
Yeah, it's Flight
So
Club. It's Flight Club.
it is, or they'll try and sneak. They'll try to sneak like a manager will try and sneak their name onto your car deal to get
Yeah,
half of the deal so that they can make a bonus. And it's like you had nothing to do with this deal. So
right.
they're just trying to take advantage of a new guy. But yeah, I made a salesman of the month that month for the most gross. I think I made like 8 grand that month selling like 10
Wow.
cars.
How
So I
old were
made
you at this time?
20. 25.
Impressive, man. You go out there and make shit happen. That's cool.
Yeah, so then I quit that job. I made enough money to put myself through real estate school to study for my license, and I passed that. And I was already used to reading boring stuff uh, from going to
Computer
technical
manual,
school.
network manuals, computer manuals.
Yeah, so I was already like used to it. So I passed the test on my first try, um, and then I became a licensed agent January of 2005.
Got it.
And I still am a licensed agent now.
So
Rode all the way through.
So you found disturbing people in the call centers, and then you found disturbing people in the car sales, and then you also found some scummy people in real estate, correct?
I did, yes. There's people everywhere. My the first broker that I went to, I left him because I found out he was our split was supposed to be 50-50 on each of the deals, and I started seeing my check not be 50-50 on lots of houses that I was closing. So I would go back there and I looked at the file, and his assistant was trying to stop me, and I went and looked at some of the files at the cuts that he was doing, and I'm like, okay, this guy is like taking advantage of me. He's taking 60-70% on 10 deals, and you multiply that by a couple $1,000, like $2,000 for 10 deals, that's like 20 grand. So I ended up leaving him, and then just kind of had like a bad taste in my mouth for real estate at the time. And then of course, a few years later, or a year later, the market crashed in 2008.
Wow.
But I came back from Europe and the market crashed, so I already had like money saved up and stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, I came back and the market like crashed, and I was just like, crap, like what do you do? When all the banks are closing and you can't get financing, and my real estate coaches are telling me to find the people that have cash. And it's like, that's like 20% of the people out there. That's like looking for a needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of calls, a lot of stuff that you have to do to just like find and make one deal happen. It seemed like almost like an impossible task. And then here I am facing, watching my savings account go down, paying just the monthly bills, my mortgage payment, paying a $3,000 a month mortgage payment, and the cost of everybody that's mooching off of me living in my house.
Oh, did you finally get your own house?
I bought a house when I became a real estate agent.
Okay, cool.
I purchased it in 2006. So from 2005 selling cars to 2006 being a real estate agent, buying a house, and then going to Europe for 3 months.
Very cool. Very cool. Did you go to Europe by yourself?
No, I went with my girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
And she was from Turkey. So we went and we visited her family there. But I don't think it was that. I've been there several times, but I think the next time we went to Turkey, because that's like a 15 or 16-hour flight. It's really long.
Going
And
on
then
Sunday.
from Turkey, we took a flight over to, one of the trips we went to Venice for a week, Rome for a week. We went to Paris for a week. And I was telling my brother this around my birthday when he took me out for my birthday dinner. I was telling him, I was like, what's crazy is that in 2003, when I was down in Tucson, I told the girlfriend that I had at that time, because she was trying to learn French and stuff in high school. I told her that one day we can go to Paris. And it was just like a thought in the back of my head. And then lo and behold, like 2 years later, I'm like in Paris with a different girl, but I'm still in Paris.
So your imagination came true. It's just a different person.
Yeah. I'm like, whoever came along for the ride, I was still in Paris.
And is either one of them today your wife?
No.
Wow, that's another one. So
And actually what's funny is that my wife was born in Paris. So
wow, very, very, very cool. So now
I didn't plan that.
So you've been in real estate. Did you ever get your broker's license?
No, I
Okay,
didn't see that it was worth it to do
got
that.
it. Because then you'd have to manage people.
You don't have to, but it's more of a cost and more extra classes that you would have to take just to maintain it. I mean,
Got
there's a
it.
cost to being a realtor. Um, Once you pay for all the fees and everything at the beginning, then it's about maybe $1,100 to maintain your license a year.
I did not know that. I did
Yeah,
not
because you have
know
to
that.
pay a local association dues, MLS fees. You have to pay the um the MLS fees. You have to pay for
I didn't
Like
know
as far as
HOA
key
for
fees.
brokers.
So real estate and insurance is just like the mafia. They're the same kind
It
of thing,
is.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't
So
realize that. But it's funny, every industry finds a way to build residual income.
they do, yeah.
So wait a minute, you have to pay these fees every year, regardless if you sell a house or not?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you also have to pay the brokerages are depending on what brokerage you go to, either they'll have like an 80-20 split. They'll have a split with you if you do any deals with them, and then they'll have like a transaction fee. So I'm with
Of
HomeSmart, so
course they do.
they have a transaction fee on your first home that you sell of the year, and then I'm on 100% split, so I keep 100% of it, but I pay monthly to keep my license hung there, which is like $25 a month. So, but every little bit is like money going everywhere.
Yeah. Crazy.
It all adds up. It all adds up.
So now you're in real estate. So now have you always been a kind of serial entrepreneur? Because I look
Yeah.
at real estate people as, people that get into businesses that seem to be risky compared to other people. They seem to they need to learn to manage their own time, right? And so they work when they want and they can do whatever. So in the midst of that, while you're doing that, were there other things, and that's how you found what we're in today, is you're constantly looking for other things so you've always, I guess the point that I'm making, Arthur, you're one of those people that seem to always be reinventing themselves.
I am. I try to do that because if you're not learning or trying something new, you're not even growing. But I've always been looking for an opportunity, even since I was like a teenager. I was that guy or kid in my room late at night watching Carlton Sheets, No Money Down, Real Estate, uh, watching that infomercial for like an hour and a half, and then watching the next infomercial for an hour and a half about how to make money. Don Lepre's little
Yep.
tiny ads in the newspaper. I would be
Very
watching
cool.
those at night.
Very, very cool. So what we're involved in, of course, with the Akashx, or what we could call network marketing, multi-level. I know that. When was the first time that you attempted one of those and found some more bad people?
Well, I remember when I was like 25 or 26, I had to ask somebody. I'm like, because I was looking at the time when they posted jobs in the newspaper. That was where you went to go look for jobs. Then it was Craigslist. But you look at the newspaper and it says MLM, and I had to like ask somebody, what does MLM mean? What is that?
Right.
I had no idea. But the reason why I never got involved with it before was I noticed that almost every single company was only in business for like 3 years, and then it was done. It was gone.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what's the point of starting with a company if it's going to be gone in 3 years? I'm like, I'm not even going to start
Right.
because it's not even going to be around. This isn't my first rodeo. I've seen these companies come and go, and people just are bouncing around. But the first company that I went to, I was promised that there would be leads based on a funnel, and we would be able to pay for advertising and have the leads run through the funnel, and they would be like auto signing up. That didn't happen.
Is it the company still in existence, or it lasted for no time?
No, that company is. You would know them. They're pretty big.
You don't want to throw anybody under the bus?
Not unless you want me to.
Go ahead.
what was the company? It's the oil company. Young Living.
Oh, Young Living. Okay. So, not to throw
I
you.
had no interest in the product. I had no interest in
Got
the
it.
product. And I even took like some of their products, like this mushroom one. I took one pill of that mushroom thing. It was so nasty. I threw the rest of the bottle away. I'm like, that was a waste of like $40. I'm like, this is so gross.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate in this industry, just like real estate or insurance and car sales. There's people always make decisions not to do things based on things not going well. But for every couple of bad people out there that overpromise and underdeliver, there's actually people that know how to do this business correctly, and they
Yeah.
don't overpromise and underdeliver. They underdeliver. They perform and they do more than they're asked to do. And so that's always really, really cool. So now we worked up all the way to when how were you exposed to My Daily Choice?
It was kind of the same scenario, really. The same guy, he got into My Daily Choice, and he's like, oh well, we got funnels. Paid for advertisement to go, but the funnels are already built. And they actually were, it was that page that Chris Record had where he was funneling people through. And then
Got it.
somehow it would be connected to My Daily Choice, which I didn't understand how it would be connected. And they're two separate websites. But that didn't last too long either. But I stuck around, and
Good for you, man.
now the people that were above me, they all left. Yeah. So I became an orphan. I became an orphan in My
They're
Daily
on to
Choice.
the next deal, on to the next deal, on to
Yeah.
the next deal. Yeah, I never understood, it's even, not saying anything negative, but I always would run into people that just did not believe in residual income.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, well, the reason that you don't believe in it is why you don't build it. I've made $60 million off residual income. What are you talking about? And so I'm glad that we connected. I'm glad that, I think the first time that we met was at an event, wasn't it?
It was. I had been following you for a while. Actually, I'll tell you this. When I got into to network marketing, after the leaders left and Chris Records site didn't really work or wasn't around anymore, I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to like figure this out. So I was like, okay, I don't know who to follow. I didn't know you at the time. I didn't know who was the trainer that I should follow. So I started following everybody that was a network marketing trainer, and
Got
I bought all their courses. So I bought all of Todd Falcone's courses. I bought all of Fraser Brooks' courses, Ray Higdon's. I bought like everything. I'm like, somebody's got to have the nuggets and the wisdom here. They claim that they're a success. I don't know if they're in the network marketing business, but one of these trainers has the answer for me that I'm looking for. And so I just bought all their courses.
What I find really interesting about you, Arthur, is that you're an all-in kind of person. When I see your success today, and that's why you're on this podcast, when I see your success today, I think that a lot of people getting to know your story is going to go, well, this guy honestly has been mentally preparing for this since he was a teenager. Isn't that interesting? So everybody hears these people, oh my God, they got in and now they're instantly successful. No, Arthur's been working on his mindset and his imagination and looking for a vehicle since he's been a teenager. It's like
I've been a dreamer that whole time. I just thought I was going to have a huge real estate investment portfolio by now and like have a bunch of like apartment buildings and houses and stuff. I mean, I bought into that whole thing that Carlton Sheets said, no money down, own 100 homes.
Hey, well, I don't think that anybody that watches this podcast live or recorded is going to fault you for, like I tell people all the time, it's easy for me to talk to anybody because I just apologize to them up front. I go, listen, I'm the kind of guy that's consistently looking to reinvent myself and find something exciting that will stimulate my imagination of a better future for me and my family. And if I find something that I think can get us there quicker, I just need you to know that I'm probably going to call you up on that one as well. So what's really been fun for me in the last 6.5 years is that I'm working with an owner that creates that within the company. I feel like I've been in 13 companies, but I've never left for 6.5 years with MDC. So it's pretty hilarious. So all of a sudden I'm reaching out to you, 18 months ago. And I'm talking about something 2 months ago that's different, right? And then all of a sudden I'm coming out with this and I'm sharing Akashx with you. And I thank you so much for being part of the family. I feel like I've known you forever. And
I
so
know.
when I do this and you make the shift, catch us up to where you are now today.
Since joining Akashx or
Yeah.
from the beginning?
Well, whatever you want to fill in. If you want to talk about, because I know that to me, products and the normal way that you build network marketing, in my opinion, just never ever fit into your style.
Yeah, because I didn't really want to be the type of person. Well, first off, a lot of the trainers were telling me at the time, don't post your company, don't post your products on your Facebook wall, like kind of like a secret agent. And so I never did do that. And they would say, oh, to create like curiosity. It's like, okay, well, if I never like post this out, the company's giving me this stuff, but don't post it. Like, never post it and never post your company name. I'm like, how are you supposed to get people then? Like, I don't even understand
Arthur,
that.
can you imagine? You got common sense, all right? Believe it, it's very uncommon, right? So it's like, can you imagine posting someplace on social media? Have you ever thought about living in a house? I'm not going to show you what it is, or I'm not even going to tell you where it is. Do you ever see yourself not living where you are right now? And it's like, okay, that's good curiosity, but hey, what city? Where's it located? What's the house look like? What's the price? It's like, nah, don't worry about that. Just curiosity.
Yeah, and the whole thing about that, and you're going into all these people's like direct message and you're asking them kind of vague questions to lead them down to seeing if they're open for a business opportunity. It's like, why not just put it on your page if they're like interested, instead of having them finally get to the end of the conversation, like where they're saying, get to the point. What do you need? Why are you
Right.
bothering me?
Right.
This
Yeah,
way
I
is
still
just
get hit
like,
with those every day. People reach out, hello.
yeah,
And I'm
so do
going,
I.
I'm happily married, been with the same woman for 40 years. I'm not interested. No, that's not why I reached out to you.
Yeah, so when I started following you, you had your training. I think it was at the time when you said, I'm giving all my training away for free.
Okay,
And then,
that would have been my second year in MDC. The first year I was trying to do all that stuff. I paid Ray Higdon a lot of money, and Frank Kern and Brendan Burchard and Russell Brunson. Me and Matt paid. We did that brand kind of thing. It didn't work for me. I'm sure it's working great for others, but it just didn't working for me. I missed a residual and the freedom and the lifestyle. It's like, man, I be honest, I just didn't want to work that hard. And Matt didn't want to work that hard. It was like, listen, this is getting us nowhere. We've got to rebuild every month. So please
and
continue.
make a new course and sell those and sell it to the same people that bought your other courses. And
And they
it's
didn't
just like
go
a
through
never
that and
ending
didn't
loop.
get results, and you just keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started following you after you did that. And then you said you deleted everything. And I was just like, I'm like, oh, you deleted everything. Like, why? I'm like, I just was getting into it. But then I just started like getting on your calls and following what you were posting from there. Our first meeting was in Florida, I think,
Yeah.
in Orlando. I brought my book and I had you sign it.
Cool.
And
Very cool. Very cool. I
and I
remember
took
that.
a picture. Or I asked you guys for a picture, and Terry was like hanging out in the background, and I'm like, no, you too. I'm like, you've been on like his videos. I'm like, you too. She's like, oh, okay. So
That's
she hopped
really
in
cool.
our photo too. But yeah, so when I got into Akashx when they first came out with it, um, I it's not like how it was before.
Right.
It's way better now. But before, when I got into it,
I just got a memory from Facebook, and I was holding this 2 years ago. This is a solid gold Akashx card. Don't worry about checking out the numbers. They don't work. But yeah, 2 years ago is when I posted that I first got involved in Akashx, and I was like, I don't understand Tradenese. I don't understand Vietnamese. I don't get this. So I got in, and then of course, like you, then
yeah, I didn't get it either. I
then
didn't
they
get it
brought in
either, and
Todd Humphreys and Kathy Humphreys, and I was at the event in Las Vegas where Todd Humphreys is showing his CoinZoom app live while he did his 45-minute presentation and made like 30 grand while we were watching it. And it was live. So I made a pretty heavy investment into crypto, and perfect timing for me. I think I bought Bitcoin at 65 and it went to 19. And so now that they reinvented Akashx now, in March, and sort of did a dry run with tap and trade in June, and then they did a deal in July. That's when I jumped in, and I know you followed me. So catch
yep.
everybody up now where what's happened to you.
Yeah, so since July, I mean, I joined after you did. I think you joined a couple days before me, but
Okay.
I hooked my Akashx up August 1st, that first week in August.
Okay.
I hooked it up, and then I started just doing the trade alerts and the tap to trades that were coming through. I didn't watch any of the training or anything like that. I was over leveraging all of my trades. Wasn't sure how much the lot size would be, and I burned through that account pretty quickly. Yeah, I failed that challenge, but luckily, Akashx or TradeX Mastery was there was a coupon code to buy another challenge account.
Cool.
So I purchased another $50,000 account, but with my money. I had that account for 1 day, approximately.
That's why I wanted you to do a podcast, because you've shared some of your stuff in our inner circle and our imaginator stuff, but I thought everybody needs to know, wow, doing things without following the right mentors can get you in trouble for sure.
Yeah, and especially if you're doing something or trading like NOS 100, where it swings like $150 one way, and I forgot to set my stop loss, and it blew right past wherever I had a stop loss. I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't put it in now because it's like way past that.
Right.
And this is how I know the answer to that question that you had asked me. What happens if you don't put a stop loss in? Well, you reach your max margin and they close your account out.
Yep.
Because
I'm going to send this video. It was Rocky that asked that question. So Rocky, you're going to get this video. So
yeah, so that's what happened with NOS. Is I was trying to do that trade, but it moved so quickly past the stop loss that I was supposed to put in there. I'm like, well, crap, like maybe I shouldn't put one in. Then it blew my account out.
Right.
But since then, Akashx was still on a promo.
That's too.
It was still on a promo.
Were you thinking maybe I'll go for one more, see what happens?
Well, the first one was a freebie.
Got it.
A gift from Akashx, Josh and Jenna. The second one I paid for out of my Bitcoin wallet on CoinZoom. So I was like, well, that's not really real money because I just like left that stuff there like years ago. So I was just like, okay. And then the third one was the $100,000 account. I got the 90% 90-10 split add-on.
Got it.
And that was a bit more than what I had spent before. So I was like, okay, I don't want to waste the money. I want to get the money back. And let me slow down here.
Losing a couple hundred is not a big deal. When it gets to 400, it's a little more serious.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
I get it. I totally get it.
So then I started just going through the trainings, and the first thing that I noticed was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be getting that many tap to trades from Javid to make this happen faster. If I want the money faster, it's not going to happen faster. And I already know that I shouldn't be taking all the tap to trades from every single trader because they all have different trading styles and they don't all win all the time. So it's gonna be hard to calculate what your win versus loss ratio is going to be if you're taking every single one of them.
It's also difficult on the emotions.
Yes.
And no one likes to lose. I mean, it's just they don't. And people don't like rejection, and people don't like to lose. So it is fun to win, but when all of a sudden it goes the wrong way, and you're like, "Oh my God, I did." So when I win, it's me. Say, I know that I took it from Javid, and I won 6 in a row. See, I'm the genius when I win, but when I lose, I'm mad at the trader.
Yes. I never got mad at the traders. I always thought whenever I lost, I was like, they're just doing the best that they can to get. They're wanting us to win. They're wanting to win because they want to win.
Yeah.
So they're not planning to lose. And most of these traders that are putting out the tap to trades, they're also taking the trades. So they're not out there to lose. So then I started looking at the back office where it says there's a tab called Tap Traders, and I was looking at their performance and and it's graded on back there on how much growth that they have on their account.
Got it.
So I was looking at the growth, and of course, Javid Khan, who is the director of Akashx, is number one. And so I'm like, okay, I see why Robert is following him. He has the most growth out of all these traders. But then I noticed that it posts how many times that they win versus how many trades that they take.
Got it.
And so I'm like, okay, what's more important, growth of their fund or how many wins versus trades that they took? Which one's more important to me? And I said, well, the wins. I want the wins.
See, my mind hasn't clicked there yet, but this helped me. That's why I wanted to.
So I started doing the percentages of their win ratios. And then I'm like, okay, this kind of like evens the playing field out a bit here. Because now Javid Khan is about a 66% win ratio. And I'm looking at like other traders like Brent Badal, he's at like a 60% or 62%. And it's all changing all the time as they're going. And so, but I'm just doing that to all the tap traders back there to see who's the one that is winning their trades versus who's the one that's growing their accounts. So those are the people that I started following to do tap to trades with, are the ones whoever was winning for that week, I'm looking at their wins.
Now, what got you connected to Joel?
I wanted more trades instead of waiting for.
Hey, for those of you that are watching this, and I can't wait for Craig and Matt to ask some questions, it's like you want to find people and hang around people like Arthur. It's just like, hey, listen, I'm at this level. I want to go to this level, and this level to this level, this level to this level. How old are you, Arthur?
I just turned 44.
You just turned 44. Because Matt has taught me my whole life about gamification. He's 32. And he's like, listen, next level, next level, next level, next level. And I like doing that with rank advancements and my monthly income. Yeah, so that's why I love hanging around people that go, that's not enough for me. I got to be more. And, so when you know more, you can be more. So please continue how you found Joel.
So after I was like, okay, I need to start making more trades while I'm learning instead of like waiting for these tap to trades to come, because I don't know when they're coming and I want a little bit more control over the trades and when they're coming or when I take them. So I noticed who was sending out the most trade alerts. It's Joel.
Wow.
And so,
I would have never thought to look at this stuff. Cool.
So I started watching and diving into all of his training videos back in his academy, started getting on his live sessions, watching his videos about how to take the trade, especially the video where he explains what to do if your account is in the negative, what to do if your account is in the positive. I'm like, that's a good video. That's a really good video. And then I found out, he has 2 different trading plans. He just added a third this last week, a third trading plan And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow this one trading plan and let's see if it works. And he doesn't win them all. And, that's when you'll hear the people giving the thumbs down or it hit the stop loss. It's like, yeah, look, he's doing his best. He's not like he can't see the future of what the market is going to do. It's going to go up and down, and some of them are going to be losses. It's just a part of the trading game. Is you're going to have losses. The trick is to minimize those losses and maximize the wins that you are getting.
Right.
But I've made mistakes too coming along. Making the trades. Like last week was not a good week.
Hey, and didn't you tell me that that was the week also that you didn't watch Joel for the week?
Yeah, I thought for some reason I thought he only did live videos for 2 days. I don't know what I was thinking last week, and because I looked back there and I saw that he did a video on Monday, but I saw it on Tuesday. And then I was like, oh, I'll watch the replay later tonight. That night came. And then I was like, oh, I'll watch it tomorrow. Wednesday came. And I got so busy with work and I didn't watch it. And then Thursday came. I still didn't watch it. And that's when I lost $4,800 that day for missing Joel's video on Monday.
So that's one of the things that you'll continue to do is watch Joel on Mondays.
Yes, because he does the market overview, what he believes is going to happen based on his analysis of what the market is doing. And then I've had a lot of people ask me, well, what other traders do you follow? And I said, I pretty much just follow Joel. And I told you guys this last night. I asked the question, what makes Joel different from all the other traders in Akashx? And nobody had the answer. And I said, the answer is he only trades in gold.
When you said that, when you said that, it's like, I didn't even know what Bitcoin was. Right. And if someone like held a gun to my head, I probably still could not explain Bitcoin. But I can talk about gold. I know what gold is. It makes sense to me. I heard a story, whether it's true or not, that the US dollar at one time was backed by it. So it still must be a pretty good entity if it's traded and people can trade it. And I do know one thing about trading when it comes to any kind of trading is it does have a tendency to go up and down.
Yep.
And I think that the price of gold has gone up and down from the time that someone found out that there was gold. How many years? I never even thought about that. It's like, well, how long have people been trading gold back and forth, buying stuff? Forever? It's like...
Yeah, gold isn't going anywhere, but I quickly realized once I started following Joel what made him different from the other traders. And people have asked me, well, why do you follow Joel? And I said, think about it logically. These other traders that are throwing out tap-to trades, what currencies are they trading in? You have some that are trading NOS 100, then they throw out a gold trade, then they're doing a CAD or the Japanese yen, or they're throwing out all these different currencies. They're looking at the charts of all these different currencies. Who has the best pulse on what gold is going to do is Joel, because that is the only chart he's looking at.
Got it.
He sees the patterns and he recognizes the patterns because he's looking at that chart multiple times a day to throw out trade alerts. And that's why I follow Joel.
Been doing it for over 8 years.
Yes. He's not throwing out trade alerts for NOS. He's not throwing it out for US 30 or any of the other currencies. He's just throwing it out for gold.
Believe it or not, you guys, there was this trader that I saw that made a full-time income just shorting and trading Meta stock. Only Meta. So a full 100K a year plus income, and they were posting this on Reddit just strictly by Meta because they knew Meta so well. So they knew when to short the stock. They knew when to buy more, set options for it, all those different kinds of things. So it definitely reminds me of that. It's like Joel's.
Well, it's mastery, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And
And I
it's
think
mastery.
like,
You want to follow someone that's documented
and confidence too. Like
and
I feel
oh
like
my
the
God.
confidence, huge, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you
Well,
look at where Arthur is right now and where he started just on Arthur alone, his confidence since he started working with us in the other groups has just double, tripled, increased since you come on board.
make 2,000 in a day. I watched his
I made more than that today.
I was going to
Yeah,
say,
you
yeah,
made $2,800 today. So
Yeah,
you know,
$2,800 day today.
so your goal, watching Javed and some of these people make 4% a month on the growth of their on their growth, and you today having 19% growth.
Yes.
I mean, tell everyone how that makes you feel.
It makes me feel good and great. It feels awesome because I hit my goal and what I had focused on for the month, which was to grow 10%, grow my account 10%. I know theirs is like 3 or 4% growth, but I saw that little FAQ on TradeX Mastery, the little drop down thing. I looked at all those, and then I said, "You want to grow your account to up to $5 million?" I'm like, "Yes." So I clicked it, and
Yes.
and I clicked it, and I read it, and I'm like, "Huh." So if I grow my account 10% for 3 consecutive months, they're going to give me $50,000 more on my fund. I'm like, interesting. And then that was my goal. I'm like, and then I did I guess a theoretical example for myself. I said, well, what if I continue this 10% growth up until I get to 5 million? Like, what is that going to look like? How long is that going to take? If I can make 10% growth on my fund, anything over that is going to be money that I can withdraw on. So that's like a new rule that I created for myself back then, was grow my account 10%. Anything over that I can make a withdrawal on if I choose to. So that's what happened. And I was just focused on that leaderboard, looking at it every day, focused on my growth every day, going back and revisiting some of the same videos from Joel. In the mornings when I'm waiting for a trade alert to come in, I'd be watching a video. At night, I'd watch a video. I'd be up early on a Saturday because my dang cats are the alarm and they wake you up to get fed. But I'd be watching videos.
Do corgs do that, Matt? Do corgs wake you up too?
Every day. It's like my alarm, way before my alarm.
Yeah. So Arthur, thanks for sharing your story. I'm going to open it up because I know that, golly, we've been talking for almost 50 minutes, and I just want Matt and Craig to ask you any random questions. I've
got a couple.
I know, and I got one from the audience too.
Yeah, I just wanted you guys to be able to ask any questions because I've always learned, for me, 45 days, 37 years ago, changed and altered my life forever. And so when I see you doing the same thing again, it's like, people think that everything takes forever. And it doesn't, you know what I mean? We even talked about a video recently. You can Google it. Craig's really good at doing that, but posting the link. But there's this guy that explains how you can change your whole life and learn to do anything in 20 hours. And your tenacity and your willingness to learn from others, I can guarantee you most people that will watch this live or recorded, Arthur, went, oh my God, are you telling me that I have to read the FAQs on TradeX Mastery? See, that's just one thing that majority of people won't do. But that builds competence, that puts you into action, because that builds confidence. And now when you got confidence, you start doing what you're supposed to. Now you get a result. And that just compounds. If someone said, how did I figure out how to make a couple of $1 million a year? The same principles on how I made my first $10,000 month. is a student of the industry. You know what I mean? To really figure it out. So now I know that you're on a, astronaut deal. So Matt, you got any questions for Arthur?
Yeah, no, I do. My first question won't come as a surprise because like I'm always trying to like think more into the future, right? So I love asking people this question, but like with all the success that you've had so far, what is your what is your I don't want to say end goal because it's not really that, but like what is your long-term strategy now that you see this opportunity here that exists? Because I know when I watched your video that you did as well, you were talking about how like this could really like crush some jobs and like get a bunch of people as well like excited about a different style of opportunity. And when that's happening at the exact same time that a bunch of people are not only fed up with their jobs, but then also like AI and all these other technologies are coming in. I just my first question would be like, where do you see this going? Like long term, what do you want to do with it? Where do you want to take it? So, because I know some people in here are like, when's Arthur going to be streaming live, doing his trades live, right? So that's when immediately my mind goes, it's like, what do you have long-term plan for this? So
Arthur's podcast. I can
exactly.
Yeah, the vision, really, I have to give it to Josh and Jenna Zwagel. They put a vision in my head about this whole trade and travel thing. I'm like, that sounds really nice because I love to travel. It'd be so nice to just go somewhere, do a couple trades in the morning, and then leave for the day on an adventure, check in on my trade at lunch, go and then come back to my hotel room, check in on that trade or close it out, or take more trades, and then go to dinner, and then close those out, and then just start the whole day over again on another adventure. So that's who put the vision in my head, was trade and travel. That's like the thing that sounded like really nice, like not having to be stuck to a job. I'm like, I'm sure it appeals to a lot of people, not being stuck to a job or having people tell you what to do, and be able to have the freedom to make your own money when you want, work when you want, because trading, you could trade almost 24 hours a day. So if you start to learn this, you can trade whenever you want. You can trade in the middle of the night if you wanted.
You're a night owl or an early bird or whatever. Yeah. I know with the markets here in the United States, because my wife's into it too. It's like early bird now is like 5 a.m.
Well, and it's not just the markets in the U.S., because I know, Arthur, you've brought up that there's the London market and the Japanese market,
the Asian market,
the Asian market that are also available.
Yep. So they go through different sessions. The Asian market, the London market, and then the New York market. You can trade in any of those. And Joel throws out alerts in all those sessions. So there's. And he says he does that.
How many alerts does Joel send out a day or a week?
Depends on the day, but I've seen him throw out like 3 or 4 in New York, 3 or 4 in London, 3 in the Asian market. Like, he throws out a lot.
I saw a lot coming from Joel last night. I think there were like 4 or 5 in a row. I mean, just bam, 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 when he's on a roll.
Yeah, so last night was the Asian market. When we were on our call, I took one right when Robert was talking. I should have told you guys all to take that.
You said 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
20 seconds is all it took.
Yeah.
20 seconds is all it took while you were talking to Lisa Marie. And I took that trade, and then I saw him after that call. He put in another trade alert for the same trade. And I was like, and it's like the same entry price just about, but the last stop loss was much higher. And he put a little note in there that said ATH, all-time high, which we're reaching. He's putting in there and telling me that this trade is probably going to reach an all-time high price in the future. So I put in another trade.
I had 3 people reach out to me, and their messages were this: you told me to follow Joel, and now he's saying that the gold will continue to rise after the all-time high. I don't think this guy is very smart. Then they left me a message when I got up this morning, went, that guy's a legend.
Well, it's that
Oh my God.
experience, right? It's like any single time you have like somebody show up and tell you like they know more without any information. Like I'm a very analytical person. So like you better, and surprise, surprise, you better have documentation instead of conversation when it comes to shit like this, because it feels like when someone goes, oh, gold's going to shift this way or that way, it's like, dude, I want the analytical data version of where this is going. I don't want the emotional thing. And that's another question I'll have for later, you know, like how you manage the emotional aspects of
just
getting
go
into
for it
trading.
right there.
Go ahead.
Start there.
Yeah.
I'm
You
stealing your
asked it?
question.
No, you did not. No, trust me,
Oh,
you did not. But since you presented it, go for it.
Well, I have one more before Arthur. I want him to answer the question as far as long term if he sees himself, because if this, I don't think the streaming fits into the traveling thing, right?
No.
Like obviously
Long
so-
term, like I explained to Robert, was I want to continue on growing my fund 10% a month. If I keep doing that within the next 2.5, 3.5 years, I will have $1 million in that fund. And so at that point, all of my trades would be
Go ahead and repeat that
20,000.
one more time, because we kind of lost you with
Yeah,
your
Arthur, you're
bandwidth.
breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, so go ahead and repeat what you just shared with us. Thanks.
Yeah, so my whole goal is to, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we can hear you, but the video's just frozen a little bit.
Yeah, it says my internet connection unstable for some reason.
Now
Say
you're
the
back.
same
Now
thing
you're
on
back.
YouTube.
Now you're back.
Yeah, my internet connection said it was unstable for Zoom, I guess. But I was saying that my whole goal is to grow my account 10% a month. And if I do that within the next 2.5, 3.5 years, it will be about $4 million. And so at that point, you're like, okay, you have $4 million in this fund. I believe Josh will probably raise it because it's going to be pretty easy to grow it $1 million once you're at that point with the size of trades that you are taking. So my mind is like, okay, I'm at $4 million. It's 3 years later. And now whenever I take a trade, they're like $20,000 trades. So I'm risking $20,000 for each trade. If I'm taking the same amount of trades, 8 to 10 trades a day, that's $150,000 to $200,000 a day that I will be hopefully clearing at an 80% success rate on trades.
Nice.
This is what we've been sharing in the inner circle and Imaginators. You are reducing it to the ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you are saying how keeping it simple, or the KISS method, keep it super simple.
Right. And I did that originally, and Robert said I brain hacked myself because I go out and I do evaluations on homes right now. And so, you know, depending on what type of order it is, you know, it's anywhere from $55 to $75 an order. And I'm like, okay, well, what if I could just treat these trades like they're a property that I'm driving to? So instead of making $75 on a house that I'm driving to go do an evaluation on, I will treat these trades like that, and I will take as many trades as I can to make up the money, and I'll just, instead of looking for the larger chunks of trade profits, like the $200, the $300, the $400 trades, I'll just start taking profits at $75, $65, and I'll just act like that's a house that I just drove to. Do that 10 times, 20 times a day, 25 times a day. All those little $65, $75 trades, that adds up. And you, sooner or later, at the end of the day, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, that was a pretty good day. That's $1,000. That's $1,200 right there.
Very cool.
No, I feel like that's what you do, Dad. That's what you do with like breakthroughs with people, right? Is like
Totally.
you find the vehicle that they can utilize to get to where they want, and then you break it down to how fast they can get there with what they're currently doing. And I think that that's so great that you shared that, Arthur, because I think a lot of people think so far long term, or they see like these people that are trading consistently and making a lot of money doing it. Like you said, okay, if I have 20,000 to leverage, I can make quite a bit in one day. You know what I mean? So since that's the case, I feel like always one of those things that people struggle with, myself included, of and I'm kind of segueing this into my last question, which is the emotional aspect of doing these things, right? Like you can on paper go, okay, I want to raise my account 10% each month, right? But the emotional impact of when that doesn't happen, or the emotional impact is when it's 15 or 20%, right? Instead of that 10%. How do you deal with that? Like what's your methods, or how do you process that personally?
If I don't make the 10%, or if I don't make the amount of money that I did, because some of the amounts that I made last week, they were under my goal amount, because I broke that 10% down to making 1% a day, like I did through my challenge, where I was making 1% a day to pass the challenge in 10 days, making 1% a day to pass the challenge in 5 days. So to complete that challenge in 15 days, I just carried that thought process over into my live funds, making 1% a day, to grow my fund 10% a month. And some of the days have been less than that. You know, I posted some where they're like $500 days or $700 days or a negative $4,800.
I think that's good though, Arthur, because like a lot of people,
Yes.
especially on social media, only post their wins. And that can give like a false sense. And, Instagram, a lot of social media do this, but it's like, it's only the highlight reel, right? It's only the
Yeah.
wins. And then when someone accomplishes like a massive win, right? Like say you get one of those couple $1,000 days, and then you do have that $500 day. A lot of people wouldn't post the $500 day. They wouldn't, because then they would go, well, it's less. So they're going to think I'm doing a little bit worse than normal. It's like, no, that's just realistic with the markets, the way things work. And I think that's why people get frustrated with different traders or picking different trades, and why I think it's so great that you specifically picked Joel, because you can understand where Joel's coming from. But I think a lot of people swap between these different traders to follow, or different styles, and they get frustrated emotionally because they don't understand the process that these people are doing in comparison to the other. So it's just like they're kind of like mix and matching and getting frustrated because none of it's really working out for them. Instead of just going, I connect with this exactly the same as like a mentor. I connect with this person specifically. I know that they can help me accomplish the goals that I want to get to next. So why not just mirror and match them and follow them? You know what I mean? Instead of trying to follow like 20 people at the same time. So yeah,
Right.
I love what you're saying.
So, Robert, you asked me yesterday, how much time am I spending doing this?
Yeah, please.
The most important time that I spend on trading is the entry, getting the trade in there at the right time. And then when it gets close to the top of the market, that's when I'm really watching it. In between all that time, you don't really even need to watch it at all. Joel will send out, hit take profit 1, hit take profit 2, hit, like last night. I already knew from watching Joel's video on Monday that gold was going to be going up. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to bed. I'll let it run all night long. And then I got up, it was still running. I didn't do anything.
Did you sleep good?
I got 5.5 hours of sleep, which is more than the 3.5 hours the night before.
Matt was talking about emotions. It's like, if you let a trade go all night and you didn't sleep good, then you haven't controlled your emotions yet.
Right. I've had some nights like that, but when I do have some nights like that, I have to look back and think, okay, well, why am I feeling like this? I'm feeling like this because I'm risking too much and I have too many trades open. That's the only reason why I'm feeling like this.
Wow.
And so
good point.
I only had 3 trades open last night, and they weren't very large lot sizes either. But gold had a long run to go, and I was going to make a decent profit on all 3 of those, which I did. I made $2,800 total on all of them. So, they all went well. But yeah, whenever I was feeling nervous, and I would wake up and like look at the chart and see how the trade is doing, to see if I'm like losing or if it hits stop loss or what I should do. That just tells me that I'm risking too much, and I have either the lot size is too large or I have too many trades open, and I shouldn't have more than 3 trades open at any given time. Joel says 2. I take 3.
It was funny because when Arthur was talking to one of our inner circle members, we do a call every Thursday night just to help people with, any kind of breakthrough. I just thought it was funny that you can actually listen to a person. I love it. I hope Lisa Marie watches this. I love Lisa Marie when she asks the questions that she asks, because a majority of the people that watch it live or recorded are actually doing the same things as she is doing. She just has the bravery and the transparency to say what she's doing. So a lot of people, when they watch me coach certain individuals, they get very uncomfortable because they think that I'm not listening, but I'm listening more than anybody. And so I could hear her, even though she asked you a question, in her mind, disagreeing with what you were saying. And people don't realize that they do that. So it's like, well, listen, to do this, this, and this, it's like, you got to do this. So if you're going to go bowling, you're going to have to show up there and you're going to have to rent shoes that other people that are already won. I'm not going bowling. Well, it's fun. I'm not putting my feet in shoes that other people put their feet in. You see what I mean?
They spray them.
It's like,
They spray them.
It's like, but wait a minute. Didn't you just ask me how to bowl? Yeah, but I'm just not wearing shoes that other people wore. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to buy shoes to be an amateur bowler? You know what I mean? So it is funny. And with you going through customer service with that really led you to being patient with people. Matt, I know that Matt's probably helping out the dogs or something. Craig, did you have any questions?
I got a question, one from the audience that I want to share, and then I've got a personal one too. First of all, I do want to say thank you, Arthur, for sharing this, because this is great information, and I know you and I had a couple of talks over the last couple of days, and it's helped me understand what's been going on. And it's just a matter of everybody please take
and I don't want to interrupt you, Craig, but Arthur, this is my shot to just say thank you for not only going through what you needed to go through to get this kind of results, but I have Raul and Portugal. I got Tomas in Poland. I have a number of people that are saying, because of your ability to lead by example and also reaching out to them, that you've really helped people understand, including, the question of why wouldn't I just leave my stop loss open, So Craig, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, that's fine. And I would just say, if everybody has a chance to say thank you to Arthur for all of the help that he has given so far, please do. That goes such a long way. And, Arthur, you are following in Robert's footsteps of documentation meets conversation. And this is what is so amazing. I've been with Robert for more than 10 years. And when I see somebody who does that, there's a couple of other people who have done that. And to see the success that you've gotten has been incredible. So the question that I want to bring in from the chat that was posed by Bob Johnson it goes back a little ways to when you were telling your story about how you got to where you are. He asked, why did you think you could do it after you blew up 2 accounts? Meaning now you're successful like this.
I reflected back on why I lost those accounts, what I did wrong. Those were lessons that, I learned something from. I know and I trust in Josh Zwagel that he is hiring the best that there is out there. And I know that the traders that are with Akashx, the trainers, they have our best interest at heart and they want to do a good job. They want people to win. So it's not that it's Akashx or the traders or the training, the common denominator has to be me. And what am I doing wrong here? So that's when I went back and I was like, okay, I really reflected on why I lost that first account, why I lost the second account. What am I not doing? And then I started like focusing on the traders that were available and what they're doing. And then I just picked one trader who I thought was going to be the best. And for the reasons I chose Joel was I recognized that he was different than the other traders.
Yeah.
He is only focused on gold. The other traders are throwing trade alerts out for several different currencies pairs, including gold. And I'm like, how? And then in my mind, I was like thinking, how is anybody going to be have a pulse on what the market is doing if they're looking at charts and where the market is going in all these different currencies? How are they going to know where the market is going to go when I have Joel over here? That's all he's looking at several times a day.
The master of the mundane comes back in, right? And so, one of the things that my number one thing for my success is I asked a person that was successful and I said, what is the number one trade? Just tell me the thing I need to get great at. And he says, you got to get great at connecting with people. You got to get really good at getting people to know that you give a shit by listening to them, complimenting them sincerely, and asking them questions. And so he didn't have a number two. He didn't have a number three. He said, Robert, if you get good at catching eye contact with someone, smiling, nodding, and then approaching slowly to get into their circle, and then give them a sincere compliment, and then ask them questions and connect with them. He goes, that's the mastery you have to have. And I went, then I'll do it. Then it's the second part that no one wants to do is you learn from doing. And that's the deal. See, I can go through. So one of the things I love about Joel is when I'm drilling on Josh, Zwagel, that, I've followed Josh Zwagel for only 6.5 years. And my wife and I are $30,000 away from $5 million in earnings. So there's a good reason why I trust Josh. And now I get to leave to Budapest and go spend with my group there in Budapest. And from there, we're going to Slovakia. See, if you take the time to go on Google and put in the word and ask it how it said it, it'll even allow you to practice to show you where you're messing up when you say it, right? I don't want to stand in front of a crowd of people and say, I'm so happy to be in your country and not be able to properly enunciate or say their language. It is also fun to say, hello to them or have a great day in their language. And they're like, this guy gives a shit. And what? It took me 10 minutes to practice it. And so, when I see Josh that dedicated to go to places where I have people. So right now, this weekend, he's in London. Then we go to Budapest. And then from there, Slovakia. And then end up in Dallas and then back to Dubai. It's like this guy's 33 years old and he's serious. So when I reach out to him, he said Josh Zwagel said this to me. I'm learning about trading. That's why I hired Javed Khan. He was a head instructor of trade experts with another company, IM Academy. I found out what it would cost. I pulled him over. Josh connected me in a Telegram group with Javed. See, the thing I respect most about Josh is not, listen, let me pump you with a bunch of bullshit. Let me tell you what I think, what I know. No, it's like, listen to Javed. My first question, ignorance. I did a post today. Mark Twain. It's like ignorance with confidence. I've been ignorant my whole entire life. I never pretend to know that I know that I know. I just would rather learn from people. So I asked Javed the crazy question, hey, can you tell me a schedule when you're trading? And he goes, I trade when the market's right. I trust my instincts. And he's super, super conservative. He says, listen, I'll make 0.5% a week and I'm done for the week. So that means he's looking at 2% growth in his account per month. And he normally hits 3 or 4. So I think it's pretty interesting that he takes he upset a bunch of people, and I told people to follow him because he did 2 trades on a Monday. And he said, I've already done my week. I'm taking the rest of the week off. I'm taking my wife to the beach. And people are like, wait a minute. It's funny because you get to learn patience. And so when I asked Javed that, then the only other question I asked him is, I love people. I love people. Who would you suggest, or what would you suggest that I do when I plug people in, how to pass the challenge? And he says, let me know when you have time. The person you need to follow is Joel Harris. I'll set up a Zoom. And so I promoted it to my team. We recorded it and we put it on YouTube. It's also in our trade star group. And again, Arthur being the first trade star, the reason he is because he passed the challenge and he made profit and got on the leaderboard. So that's the reason I'm following Joel, is because the 2 people I respect the most are telling me to follow Joel. And I'm not one of those guys that go, nah, I'm following somebody else. I always say that in my training calls. My mentor told me what to do, and I just did what he told me what to do. And so everyone looks at me as being a genius. And what I do is I just find the best people that are documented, and I ask them for their documentation. And then the second thing is how good is Joel Harris if he can show Arthur how to do what he's done? Now, between me and everyone that watches this live or recorded, it still takes an individual to be confident and do like Coach Bob said, where he was able to analyze where he was messing up. He didn't give up, and he kept learning. And I do have to say that all of the production, or all the things that Arthur's done, has been because of his own commitment to going through the information more than once. What no one wants to talk about when you see that chart, you see that chart that I posted at the beginning. No one wants to talk about how many trades he did. You know what I mean? So how many trades did you totally done so far?
Since I started Akashx,
Yeah.
probably over maybe about 800 now.
Yeah.
Maybe 900 trades.
So doing a push-up a day doesn't seem like you're getting any results. But
No.
Anybody knows that if you did 800 push-ups and you broke it into a month and a half, you would see results.
Yeah.
You definitely would see results. Craig, did you say that you had another question before we let Arthur go? And Arthur, I apologize. We didn't tell you how long we were going to keep you on here.
Nope, that's okay.
Well, I
Okay,
wanted
good.
to drill down a little bit more because I just wanted to make sure of something, Arthur, and just be a little more specific. Now, I know that the question was, why did you think you could do it after you blew it up twice? So what gave you the impetus to go for it one more time after you totally blew the first 2 accounts out?
Well, it wasn't just, I'm going to go after it one more time. They say, Tony Robbins said, well, how many chances are you going to give your child before they can't walk anymore? Are you going to say, okay, you're going to try 3 times and then you're just going to give up and they're going to be on the ground forever? No, they're going to keep trying until they do it. So there was never no one more time. It was just, okay, let me get it right this time. If it didn't get it right that time, get it right this time. It's just to keep going forward. I knew that it was going to work if I applied the training and actually did the work. I just recognized that what my mistakes were on the last two accounts and made sure not to do them this time.
What a great statement, huh, Craig?
Oh man, this is why it is so valuable that you are sharing this information with us. And you know what? I can't think of anything else. I think I had, but this was the one question that I thought was very important for everybody to understand. In particular, when we're talking about things like, you know, you have your goal, you have your mindset on I am going to succeed, not understanding that success is not an exact straight line like we always expect it to be, but there are bumps and curves and valleys and hills and mountains to climb. And it takes the persistence of knowing what it is that you want and not giving up from where you are. And that is something that I wanted to make sure that everybody heard directly from you, Arthur, because you did that. You had bumps, grinds, mountains, hills, valleys to climb. It wasn't a straight line, as you have shared with us, but you still had your mindset on the goal of getting through the 2-step challenge that Akashx was offering us, and that it can be done.
It can be done. And if you go back and you look last week of when I had that $4,800 loss, I mean, I messaged Robert that, about it, and I was disappointed in myself. I was more disappointed that I let him down, and let Terry down and let Josh down. Yeah. And I was disappointed in myself for making a huge mistake. But that only lasted for a few hours. And then if you go back and look on my timeline, what I did to kind of get out of that funk was, okay, the Asian market is opening soon. That's a plus. I can get back in.
Yeah.
Because when that happens, it's a new day. So with the drawdown on your account restarts on the next day. So I'm like, it's a new day already. That happened in the morning. Today's a new day. And then if you go back and you look on my timeline, what I did was, instead of like thinking about the loss that I just had and feeling bad about it, I went and I started sharing the wins of people. So I focused on their wins instead of my loss.
Nice.
And I started posting the people that were winning and posting their results.
Yeah, you just, like I said, I give you so much credit, Arthur, because I watch you do your own mind hacks. That's one of my mind hacks. It's like I watch testimonials of other people and or documentaries, or something about someone else's ups and downs, right? And I go, oh, winter. You know what I mean? And then I go, spring, summer. You know what I mean? So it's no one wants to think we're especially with social media, we're just seeing everyone's highs or faked highs of them standing next to a Rolls Royce or something, in somebody's parking lot. And it's like no one wants to. So if we just look at somebody and look at all their highs, and then we do the worst thing that we could do, which is compare-itis. You know what I mean? There's broke-itis, and then there's compare-itis. And with compare-itis, it's like, oh my God, that guy won it so fast, and that guy did it so quick. And I know, Arthur, that you and I were talking about, when we were young, that you and I both grew up in foster homes and stuff, and were taken away from our parents. And it's like, I just was thinking about that, because you and I, there's this phrase, and I don't think that people really understand what the phrase is, but when you talk to somebody that didn't grow up around people that were their biological parents, and even sometimes their grandparents, they just had to grow up faster. You know what I mean?
I feel like my childhood ended when I was 7.
Yeah, get it. Totally get it. And it wasn't that you had to grow up and take care of yourself. It was a survival skill.
Mhm.
See, it immediately, you and I had to identify that we're not going to be in this place very long. You know, we start seeing a pattern, right? And
Mhm.
you know, two of my dear friends that own a very successful company, they grew up in the same kind of atmosphere, you know, so they were, it was like a double whammy for them because their parents as young toddlers left them in a trailer park. And then when they got adopted because the people that adopted them couldn't have children. And so 2 years after they adopted them, they had their own children. And so now it's like, you know, you do treat your children different than you treat, you know, children that are not yours. And so you know, sometimes when people hear when you shared your story with us, and thank you for being so vulnerable, it's like when you talk to people that have to go through that kind of trauma or that kind of experience, it seems like when they talk, they live like 13 lifestyles.
I feel like I've lived two different lives. One, I mean, it's kind of crazy some of the stuff that I've been through. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
through
so when
two
you tell
house.
people, hey, I bought my house in my 20s, but that was after I got back from Europe for 3 years, and people are like,
Yeah.
what? What? Oh, and what? You're working in a call center, and then you're networking computers, and then you're in car sales. It's like, what? You know, it's interesting because I would wish our childhood on not on anybody, but now connecting the dots, like Steve Jobs says afterwards, uh, those things didn't happen to us; they happened for us.
Well, I would say that it made us resilient and never give up kind of attitude. Like, we're not going to die. Nothing's going to kill us. We're going to keep moving forward no matter what. I mean, I've been in several situations where I've been close to maybe dying, possibly the possibility of death. Two house fires. I woke up once when I was 7 in a house fire. I was sleeping out on the pull-out sofa in the living room, and I woke up to the feeling like my skin was burning off, and I couldn't breathe. I had there was smoke everywhere and flames all around in the living room, all around my bed, and I couldn't breathe, and I just was like uh, gasping for air while my skin felt like the worst sunburn you can ever feel.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I see this fireman jump over the fire onto the bed. He picks me up, and the rest of my family is like outside the house. I was like the last one in there. Uh, so that was like one of the times. It's kind of crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
and
had a couple other times where there was this other time we were at the lake, and maybe this is just by chance, or maybe I'm just lucky, but me and these other kids we're eating a bag of chips. And I had the bag of chips, and they wanted to come and get the chips, and I was like playing around with them like I was going to give them the chips. And I took 3 feet to the left, and not 5 seconds later, a car came that somebody didn't put their brake on, came rolling down the hill right where we were and went right into the lake.
Wow.
Like, we were like 1 or 2 feet away from that. Like, that's like how close it was.
yeah, near death experiences are things that really uh yeah, mine. I don't know why I've had so many either. It's like I was stupid enough asking one of my asking my foster father, listen, I want to make money. And he goes, great, you can work for my brother. His name was called Chum Ledoux. And he owned rodeo stock. He traveled all over the United States with prize-winning bulls and horses for rodeo. And so I was working for him, and then I go, hey, will you ever get paid? And he goes, no, the only way you make money is I'll pay for your entry fee to ride either one of the bulls or horse. You can do bareback, saddle bronc, or bulls. And I'm like 14 years old, and I said, okay, I'll do that. I look back, and it's like all my friends that I knew during that time. It's like, they ended up in the hospital. They had parts of their body, believe it or not. Buck Brown, a friend of mine, had his testicles stepped off, jumped, it was like, and I'm doing this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, so one time, the bull went the wrong direction and fell on me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, they're going, he's dead. You know what I mean? He's 2,500-pound Brahma bull on a 14-year-old kid. And all I remember is not getting knocked out. That's all I remember. And then I woke up and ran off. And everybody's like, what the hell just happened? It's like, we just watched him get crushed. And I've been hit by a car. And it's like, me and Arthur said, man, we're going to talk to each other about all these things that happen. And then guess what? Not even 2 months later, I'm in a different home in a different town and a different high school. It's like, well, that all stuff happened in there. So when people hear that I've been a race car driver at 16 and they hear that I was in rodeo, and it's like, what are you doing? It's like, I didn't even have the common sense back then that there was junior rodeo and then pro rodeo. Why did I pick pro rodeo? They paid. Wait, if I ride these small animals, what do you get? You get a buckle. And if I ride the big one, the 2,500 one, oh, you could win $300. Then I'm doing that one.
See, we're kind of like the same, where when I was younger, people would always like ask me like things that I've done, and I would like explain some of these things that I have done. Like I was a certified scuba diver. I was a black belt in Taekwondo. I know how to play.
My two boys, yeah.
I know how to play the piano. And I was like thinking, maybe I'm just like a Renaissance man. I'm like just doing all these different things and experiencing all these different crazy things, and then all these countries that I've been to, and then all these different jobs that I've had.
Yeah, it's I think what it is more than anything is I just get bored. I really, really, really get bored. I love reinventing myself. I love helping other people find that kind of thing. I really get a lot of fulfillment and juiced up by watching other people alter and change their lives. And so, Arthur, I can't tell you, what, for those of you that are believers, I totally am. I just know that the universe and God put us together, and I thank you so much for jumping on the podcast and sharing with people.
No problem.
I know this is not going to be the last time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Arthur, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you guys for having me.
I do have one quick question. Did you ever reconnect with your biological parents?
Not my father. My mother, though, I talk to all the time. We reconnected, but I think we reconnected in 2018.
Got it. Yeah, that's cool.
My father, I don't have my father. I don't have any connection to.
Yeah.
He called me once on accident he was trying to call my sister, but he called me once on accident, and he was calling to wish her a happy birthday. But our birthdays are 3 days apart, so he called me on accident. But yeah.
Yeah, the last time I seen my father was when I was 13. He was skipping bail, so he beat the crap out of me and my mom. They threw him in jail, and he got out, was on a restraining order, and walked up sober and knocked on the window, and we looked through the screen, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I promise this will never happen again." And I was just going like, that's bullshit. And he left town and never seen him again. My younger brothers went to a different foster. I was broke up from them. And so they reconnected with him, but it just never, ever passed our path. And sort of a heartfelt story is when he died, he served in the military. And so he died at a veteran hospital. And the veteran hospital called me, and I'm going, hello. And they said, yes, do you know George Harris Hollis? Well, everybody I knew him as Cal. You know what I mean? I said, yeah, that's my father. And they go, well, he just died. Do you know what his arrangements are? And I said, no, I don't. I don't know who this man is. And I said, how did you know to call me? And he said, well, he had a business card with your number on the back. So to think how many times that guy looked at that business card and just through pride or ego or shame or whatever it was, guilt, had my number, but never called me.
Yeah.
That's freaking weird, but you and I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Arthur. I love and appreciate you big time. I'm so proud of you. The only reason I asked you that question is you're 44. My eldest son is 42. He lives in Arizona. So, hey, if you ever want to call me father, I would be honored. I'm proud of you like a son.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
You bet. Love you guys. Craig, sign us off.
All right. Wow. Arthur, thank you so very much. What a great interview. And I hope everybody has a moment to watch this again. So much great information and just the heart of somebody that's the one thing I love also, Robert, when we get a chance to interview people like this, you go deeper into what we see on the surface in the groups, and it makes it more human.
It does.
And, it's like you say, if I can do it, you can do it. So thank you again very, very, very much. All right. So as we wrap up today, you can follow Robert Hollis at roberthollis.com. Also, if you'd like to join our exclusive community, the Inner Circle and the Imaginators, you can join us by going to roberthollis.com/join to register. There will be lots of great exclusive content, and you'll be able to participate in our special breakthrough sessions to help you move on to the next level. Please don't forget to like and share this video on YouTube and also with others. It will help us grow our community and reach those with ears to hear. Thank you and shout out to our executive producer, Matt Hollis. He's another visionary here on our channel. Robert Hollis, of course, thank you so much. And of course, thank you, Arthur Wainio, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. My name is Craig Jackman. Please be good to yourself, be cash, and until next time, bye for now.
Bye, Craig. Hey, for those of you that are looking to connect with Arthur, I'm sure he'll comment someplace below this video.